In our text this morning, we find that Jesus has come to the end of his earthly ministry, and it is perhaps the battle of his life. We can recall in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 4, when Jesus was led into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. You recall that? That was a great time of testing for him. And Hebrews 4:15 lets us know that he has been tempted in every conceivable and imaginable way, yet without sin. That's why when you go to him in prayer, he understands exactly what you're talking about, because Jesus has undergone everything that you're ever going to face. And so there's really nothing that you can't go to him and pray about, because he's gone through it all. First of all, he was single. That ought to encourage the single people. And everybody that was following him didn't want to touch the hem of his garment. Some of them wanted to get in the garment with him or have him take the garments off. Why, when I talk about real life, y'all look real new? Y'all talk about this stuff at the house. And so when we go to him in prayer, we understand that because he was tempted in every manner conceivable, yet he didn't fail any of the tests, he is able to relate to us when we bring our needs to him. And you can come to him unashamedly with whatever it is you're dealing with. Amen. Tell your neighbor, you just have to keep it real. Jesus is in the battle of his life in our text this morning, because he knows that he has come to die for fallen humanity. Jesus didn't get it twisted. He was fully aware of why God sent him to planet Earth. He knew that Calvary was coming. He knew that it was going to be painful. Have you ever struggled with the will of God for your life? We can just leave Jesus in the garden for a minute, and then let me talk to you. Has God ever spoken his will to you and you didn't like it? I know you're looking all sanctified and you sit next to somebody fired up, but can we just talk for a minute? Has God ever showed you something that he needs to change about your life? And now, if we'll be real, sometimes when God shows us stuff, we're glad about it. We wanted to break up with Ray anyhow. The boy ain't got no money, no job. We wanted to let him go. But other times, there are things that God calls for from your life, and you like it. You're holding it pretty tight. Lord, it's quiet up in this Presbyterian church. Touch your neighbor just see if they, check their pulse. Say, you all right? Because Vaughn Green is in the house. We ain't got to make a call. I'm just checking. Touch your neighbor. Say, you all right? You breathing? But sometimes God will require stuff out of your life that you're not necessarily ready to give up. Sometimes when God answers your prayer, it is not the answer you were expecting. You went into prayer to talk about how much your husband is causing you problems, and God says, guess what? Ain't but two of y'all in this house, and he ain't the one that's wrong. All the married people are looking around the room now, looking at the floor, looking at their purse. Have you ever prayed about somebody else and God turned your finger right back to you? Talking to a young lady the other day, and she said, Pastor, he broke my heart. I said, well, he's only 50% wrong because you gave it to him. Your heart ain't supposed to be in nobody like that but Jesus. Your life should be so wrapped up in God that a brother got to come through the anointing to even get your attention. Some of y'all cheap. He ain't got to have nothing but a car. He ain't got to have nothing but the right anatomy and physiology. This is just the introduction. Just relax. Say, she just warming up. It's all right. It's about to get worse. But has God ever required something of your life that you absolutely did not want to do? Temptation, I want you to understand this morning, that temptation can come in two different ways. First of all, there's omission, sins of omission, and they occur when there's something that we're supposed to do and we won't do it. It's when we know what needs to be done and for whatever reason we are not cooperating. It is when we omit or neglect to do something. Somebody said, where the PowerPoint? No, I'm going to take you to another level. You're going to have to really pay attention today. It has been said that delayed obedience is disobedience. So one way of being tempted is to not do something that you know you ought to do. I bet if I asked you right now, just to really be honest, all of us could write down one thing that we know God has been requiring out of our life. Many of us, God has been saying, meet me in prayer. Meet me. And you still hitting the button, hitting the snooze button. If you get up a little early, you could pray about the day you're about to have that you've never walked in before. A day that the devil has been planning for the whole night while you were asleep. He has studied your weaknesses. He has prepared some traps. But because you just jump out the bed, wash all possibilities, and go out the door, you ain't ready. Some of you, he's been dealing with you about the relationships in your life, and you just determined to keep on hanging out with the buzzards, and that's why all y'all got fleas and ain't about nothing and ain't going nowhere, because you won't come out the group. Some of you keep hollering about you want to get promoted, and God said, go back to school, but you're too trifling. They even have online courses. You can sit on the couch and do it. So instead of going back to school and bettering yourself, you just go to work with a hater spirit all day long. I can't stand her. She thinks she all that. No, you think she's all that. And guess what? And she went back to school. She ain't all that. She might not be all that, but she in charge of you. So sins of omission, things that we know we should do, we ain't trying to do them. And then there's sins of commission. On the other hand, these sins occur when we're tempted to do something that we should not do, and we do it anyway. Oh, so the second way of being tempted is to give in and do something that we know is wrong. Sometimes we even play games with ourselves. We say, oh, God understands that, see, God knows my heart. Years ago, there was a comedian, and many of you remember him. His name was Flip. And just like the modern day comedian Martin Lawrence reminds me a lot of Flip Wilson. He has a lot of his ways, and Martin has made up this character called Shanae. I love Shanae because the girl is just real. On one episode, Kid and Play, I don't know which one it was, Kid or Play, one of them hurt her feelings. She said, look, you ain't sold that many records to be hurting somebody. I like people like that are just real and just honest. May not be all that together, a little uncouth, but I can deal with uncouth rather than deceitful. I take uncouth over deceitful anyway, Alex, for 100. Because uncouth can be polished, deceit just need to be slapped. But anyway, Martin has this character named Shanae, and Flip Wilson had a character named Geraldine. Y'all remember Geraldine? Now, some of y'all too young, but Geraldine was off the Geraldine ain't had no chain. Geraldine broke her chain. This girl was something way back in the 70s. The girl was off the chain. And she had this one little statement that she used to always make. She would always say, "The devil made